Imagine this for a moment. You're walking into a room, confident, calm, and unstoppable. Your mind is sharp, your heart is strong, and no one can shake you. When you stand there, you don't need to scream your power, it radiates. It demands respect without a word. And today I'm here to tell you how to harness that same mental strength and show him, not just him, but anyone, just how powerful you truly are. There is something deeply powerful about owning your own story. It's about embracing every chapter, every twist, and every turn that has brought you to this point. Let me ask you, how often do you hide parts of your past, hoping they won't be seen? How often do you dim your light because of the things you've been through? What if I told you that your past is not something to hide, but something to show the world? Your story is your power, and the moment you embrace it fully, you unlock a force that no one can take away from you. Think about it, we all have a past. Some of us have faced rejection, heartbreak, failure, and pain. And let me tell you, I know how it feels to think you're broken, to think that these moments define you. But I've learned the hard way, your story doesn't have to define you in a negative way. It can define you in a way that inspires others. Every scar you carry, every setback you've overcome is proof that you are a survivor. Your story is the foundation of your strength, the blueprint for the woman you are becoming. Take, for example, the woman who's been turned down for a job multiple times. The disappointment, the self-doubt that creeps in, the fear of never being good enough. It's all real. But here's the thing. When you own that part of your story, when you don't shy away from it, you realize that every rejection wasn't a sign of your inadequacy. It was preparation. Every no was simply leading you closer to the right yes. Those moments don't diminish your worth, they reveal your resilience. You learn to embrace your story by seeing the lessons within the pain. Or consider the woman who's gone through a difficult breakup. Maybe she feels unworthy, maybe she feels like there's something wrong with her. But here's the truth. The right person will never make you feel less than. And the one who walked away, they were never meant for you. The heartbreak isn't the end of your story. It's just one chapter. If you own that, if you understand that the pain isn't a reflection of who you are, but a part of your journey, you'll begin to see the beauty in your strength. That heartache was simply your soul making space for someone who will truly cherish you. Think about your personal failures. Perhaps you've failed at something, whether it's a business venture, an exam, or a relationship. And at that moment you felt like you were drowning. The voices in your head screamed, "You're not good enough. You're a failure." But what if you rewrote that narrative? What if you embraced your failures as badges of honor, proof that you took risks, that you stepped outside your comfort zone? The greatest achievements in history came from people who failed, learned, and tried again. Your failures are your lessons. They are not marks of defeat, but symbols of your growth. Let's not forget the importance of owning your weaknesses too. There's often shame attached to vulnerability, whether it's admitting that you're struggling, whether it's asking for help, or simply acknowledging that you don't have all the answers. But here's what I'll tell you. Strength isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about showing up even when you're not at your best. When you admit where you're struggling, you open the door to growth. When you embrace your weaknesses, you start to turn them into your greatest strengths. It's in those moments of rawness that your true power emerges. And the most important part, your story isn't just for you. It's for others. Every time you stand tall in the face of adversity, every time you refuse to let your struggles define you, you inspire someone else to do the same. Your story has the power to light the way for someone else who is walking a similar path. They might not have the strength to get through it alone, but when they see you, they know it's possible. And by owning your story, you give others permission to own theirs. In every rejection, in every heartbreak, in every failure, and even in your moments of weakness, there is strength, there is beauty, there is power, and it's all yours. So stop hiding. Stop dimming your light. Own your story with pride, because the woman you've become is unstoppable. And trust me when I say, no one can ever take that away from you. Stop seeking validation from others and start validating yourself. You are enough. just as you are. The truth is, the moment we start depending on others to tell us our worth, we lose our sense of control and we hand over our power to someone else. The world outside can be fickle, unpredictable, and harsh. If you spend your life waiting for someone to approve of your decisions, your appearance, or your abilities, you will always feel like you're chasing something that can never truly satisfy you. Your worth is not up for debate. It doesn't need to be confirmed by anyone else's opinion. The only opinion that matters is your own. Let me tell you something. Every time you seek external validation, you are giving away a piece of yourself. You're saying, I'm not good enough unless you tell me I am. But here's the thing. You were born enough. You have always been enough. Imagine a flower waiting for validation from the sun before it blooms. The sun doesn't have to approve it, it just shines. You are like that flower. You don't need anyone's permission to shine. You don't need anyone's approval to be yourself. When you begin to realize this, you take back your power and you start to walk through the world with confidence, not because someone else says you're worthy, but because you know deep down that you already are. Think about a time when you posted something on social media. Maybe it was a picture, a thought, or an achievement. And as soon as you hit post, you found yourself constantly checking for likes, comments, or shares. You felt anxious, didn't you? The validation of others was like a drug, and you kept refreshing, hoping for a hit. But let me ask you, did the likes really make you feel better, or did they just make you crave more? Did the comments bring you joy, or did they only temporarily fill a void? That is the trap of seeking validation. The moment you base your happiness and worth on how others perceive you, you are at their mercy. You become addicted to a false sense of approval that will never truly satisfy you. Now let's talk about your work, your career, or even your dreams. How many times have you held back on something important because you were worried about how others would judge you? You waited for someone's approval before moving forward. Questioning whether your ideas were good enough, whether your voice was loud enough. You gotta stop doing that. You cannot wait for the world to give you permission to shine. The most successful people in the world didn't wait for someone to tell them their vision was valid. They pursued their dreams relentlessly, even when no one else saw their potential. Think of Steve Jobs, who was laughed at when he first talked about revolutionizing the phone industry. People thought he was crazy, but he didn't seek their validation. He believed in his vision, and that's why he changed the world. In relationships too, this is where many people lose their power. They become so desperate for validation from their partner that they forget the most important thing. They need to validate themselves first. When you seek constant reassurance from someone, you put the entire weight of your happiness on their shoulders. This is not love, it's dependence. The most empowering relationships are those where both people are whole on their own, where they don't need each other to feel validated, but choose to be together because they value each other's company and respect one another. If you start seeking validation within yourself first, you stop looking for someone else to fill the void. Let's talk about your appearance. Women in particular are often conditioned to seek validation about how they look. You've heard it 1,000,000 times. You should wear this, you should look like that, you should do your hair like this. Society constantly tells you that your worth is tied to your looks, but the moment you buy into that lie, you start to feel small. If you live your life based on the opinions of others, you'll never feel good enough. You'll constantly strive for a version of yourself that isn't truly yours. The truth is, when you start embracing yourself, imperfections, flaws and all, you begin to radiate confidence. The way you carry yourself, the way you stand tall and own your unique beauty, that's what makes you magnetic. When you stop seeking validation from others, you stop apologizing for being who you are. Remember, your value isn't up for negotiation. Your worth is not a public opinion. It's a quiet truth that resides deep within you. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you stop handing over your power to someone else. You take that power back. You stand tall. And you move forward with the certainty that you are enough. Always have been. Always will be. You are the only person whose approval truly matters. There is a rare power in silence. An energy that most people overlook or misunderstand. Society tells us that we must always be speaking, always be heard, always be in motion. We are conditioned to believe that the louder we are, the more we are seen, the more we matter. But what if I told you that your greatest strength lies in the moments when you choose to be silent? What if I told you that in silence you find your most profound power? Let's talk about it. Think about the last time you were in a heated argument. The voices were rising, emotions were escalating, and everyone was trying to make their point louder than the other. You probably felt this urge to defend yourself, to speak up, to make sure that you were heard. But in the middle of that chaos, did you ever stop and realize that sometimes the most powerful response you can give is silence? Silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you don't care or that you've been defeated. It's actually one of the most strategic moves you can make. In that moment, when the other person is waiting for you to react, silence disarms them. It forces them to pause. It makes them question their own words. It takes all the energy from the argument and shifts it back to them. That silence, that controlled calmness is your power. Now let's think about a different example. How many times in your life have you tried to impress someone? Whether it's a potential partner, a boss, or even a friend, you probably felt this need to talk about your achievements, your experiences, to prove that you're worthy of their attention. You felt like you had to say something to be seen, to be valued. But here's the thing, when you embrace silence, when you allow your actions and your presence to speak for you, you become far more powerful. Think about the people who leave an impression without saying much. Those who simply walk into a room and their energy is so magnetic that they don't need to shout for attention. Their silence speaks volumes. They are confident in their own being, and that confidence is a language that doesn't need words. The truth is, silence is often misunderstood as emptiness, but in reality it is full of possibility. It is in silence that you find clarity. Have you ever experienced that moment when your mind is racing and everything feels like it's crashing in? In that chaos, the best thing you can do is sit in silence. It's in those moments of quiet that the answers you've been searching for come to the surface. When you stop the constant chatter in your mind and allow the silence to wash over you, you begin to see things clearly, with fresh eyes. In that stillness, you reconnect with your inner self, your instincts, and the wisdom that's already within you. Consider the idea of silence in the context of relationships. We often think that in order to connect with others, we must talk endlessly. We believe that the more we speak, the closer we become. But there's another layer to this. True intimacy doesn't always require words. There is so much power in sitting with someone, in sharing a moment of complete silence. It's in these moments that you communicate without the need for any words. It's the way you hold space for someone, the way you sit beside them and let them feel understood. That connection, it's real, and it's more profound than anything you could ever say. In a world that constantly urges you to speak, to share, to perform, silence is a rebellion. It is the art of not being swept up by the noise around you. It is the act of reclaiming your peace in a chaotic world. Silence gives you the space to listen, not just to others, but to yourself. When was the last time you really listened to your inner voice? When you embrace silence, you open yourself up to your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own truths. You can hear what your soul is trying to tell you, and that clarity is worth more than any noise you could fill your life with. Think about this. In moments of silence, you can build resilience. You can withstand the storm without losing your composure. Silence allows you to gather your thoughts, to find strength within yourself. It's like the calm before the storm, a space where you center yourself, gather your energy, and prepare for what's ahead. When you choose silence in moments of pressure or challenge, you equip yourself with the strength to move forward with purpose, with grace, and with unshakable resolve. You realize that you are in control, not of the situation, but of your reaction to it. In those quiet moments, in the spaces where words are not needed, you find your true strength. You become powerful, not because you shout or demand attention, but because you stand firm in your silence. The world may be noisy, but in your silence, you can hear your own power rising. You are the most important person in your own life, and yet, how often do you put yourself last? How many times have you given so much of yourself to others, to your job, to your responsibilities, that you've forgotten to take care of the one person who matters the most? You? It's easy to get caught up in the demands of life, to be swept away in the currents of others' needs. But let me tell you something important. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will. Self-care is not a luxury. It is a necessity. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give your best to others if you're running on empty yourself. Let's take a moment to think about this. How many times have you pushed yourself to the brink, telling yourself that there's no time to rest, that there's too much to do? Maybe you've had those sleepless nights where you sacrificed your well-being for a project at work or for someone else's needs. You've done it because you felt like it was expected, because you believed that putting others first would somehow make you a better person. But here's the truth. When you neglect yourself, you're not helping anyone. You're not helping your family, your friends, or your colleagues. You're simply burning yourself out, and when you're drained, you cannot be your best self for anyone. Prioritizing self-care is an act of strength, not selfishness. It's recognizing that in order to be there for others, you must first be there for yourself. Now think about the times you've been told to take a break, to relax, to pamper yourself. You've probably dismissed it, thinking there's no time for self-care or that it's indulgent. But when you don't prioritize self-care, you start to lose touch with who you are. You become irritable, impatient, and stressed. You begin to feel disconnected from yourself, from your desires, and from your needs. The exhaustion builds, and before you know it, you're running on autopilot, unable to give the world your best energy. But when you take time for yourself, whether it's through exercise, a hobby, a day off, or even just a quiet moment, you reconnect with the most important person in your life. You reconnect with, and when you do that, you restore your strength, your clarity, and your energy. Consider the example of a mother who has spent all her time taking care of her children, her home, her family. She's constantly giving, constantly running on empty, and she's so focused on everyone else that she forgets about herself. At some point, she becomes irritable, tired, and overwhelmed. She may even start resenting the people she loves because she feels like she's giving everything and receiving nothing in return. But when she prioritizes her own needs, whether it's taking time to exercise, get a massage, or simply take a nap, she comes back stronger. She has more patience, more love to give, and more energy to pour into her relationships. The same applies to every role in your life. Whether you're a parent, a friend, or a professional, if you don't prioritize self-care, you can't be the best version of yourself for those around you. Look at the most successful people in the world. They're not superhuman. They don't work endlessly without breaks. They know the power of self-care. They understand that their success is not just about hard work, it's about balance. It's about knowing when to push forward and when to step back and recharge. Self-care isn't a distraction from success. It is the foundation of it. Think of the great athletes who spend as much time training their minds as they do their bodies. They understand that their performance is deeply connected to their mental and emotional well-being. They take the time to rest, to meditate, to eat properly, to do whatever it takes to maintain their peak performance. The same goes for every person striving for greatness. But self-care is not just about physical rest. It's about mental and emotional restoration too. Think about the times you've been mentally drained, whether it was from work, relationships, or personal struggles. You felt overwhelmed, anxious, and stressed. You felt like there was no room for peace. But when you prioritize your mental health, whether it's through mindfulness, journaling, therapy, or simply taking time to disconnect, you give yourself the space to heal. You give yourself the clarity to think and the calmness to approach life's challenges with strength and resilience. And let's not forget the importance of saying no. Often we're afraid to set boundaries because we don't want to disappoint others. But every time you say yes when you should be saying no, you're sacrificing your own well-being. Saying no is not selfish, it's self-respect. It's acknowledging that you have the right to protect your time and energy. When you learn to say no, you reclaim your power. You make room for the things that matter most, your health, your peace, and your happiness. Self-care is not a one-time event. It's a lifestyle, a mindset, a commitment to yourself. It's about prioritizing your well-being every single day, not just when you're at your breaking point. When you make self-care a non-negotiable part of your life, you give yourself the opportunity to thrive, not just survive. You build resilience, you build strength, and you become unstoppable. Prioritizing self-care doesn't make you weak, it makes you powerful. It allows you to show up fully for yourself and for the world. You deserve it. And when you prioritize yourself, the world will notice. Have you ever had someone say something to you that made you feel small, unworthy, or disrespected? Maybe it was a comment from a colleague, a friend, or even a loved one. You felt hurt, and for a moment, that comment consumed you. It's easy to take things personally, to internalize the words and actions of others, and to let them define your worth. But let me tell you this. The moment you stop taking things personally, you unlock a level of strength and freedom that will completely change your life. When you take things personally, you're allowing someone else's opinion of you to control how you feel about yourself. You give them the power to define who you are. It's like giving them the keys to your happiness, your peace, and your self-worth. But why would you let someone else dictate how you feel about yourself? Why would you let a random comment or an offhand remark hold so much power over your life? The truth is, when people speak negatively or criticize you, it's more about them than it is about you. It's their perception, their struggles, their insecurities. The words they speak are a reflection of their inner world, not yours. Think about it. How often do you project your own feelings onto others? We all do it. When we're angry, sad, or frustrated, we sometimes lash out at people around us. We say things that we don't truly mean, or that aren't a reflection of who they are, but rather a reflection of what we're feeling at that moment. The same principle applies to the way others treat us. When someone is rude, judgmental, or harsh, it's usually not about us. It's about what they're going through in their own lives. Imagine a time when you've been in a bad mood or had a rough day and someone innocently asked you a question and you snapped at them. Did they deserve it? Probably not. It was a reflection of your own frustration, your own stress. Now think about those times when someone has snapped at you or criticized you harshly. Did it have anything to do with you? Not at all. It was a reflection of their own emotional state, their own fears, their own pressures. By refusing to take things personally, you free yourself from that emotional burden. You no longer allow someone else's bad mood or harsh words to control your thoughts or emotions. You stop absorbing negativity and start reclaiming your own emotional space. You realize that what people say or do is a reflection of them, not you. Let's take an example from the workplace. Perhaps you've had a colleague who is constantly critical of your work, pointing out mistakes and making you feel inadequate. It's easy to take that criticism personally and start doubting yourself, questioning your abilities and feeling frustrated. But what if instead of internalizing their words, you viewed it as a reflection of their own need to feel important, to assert their dominance, or to make themselves feel better? What if you could look at that criticism and say, this isn't about me, this is about them? The moment you detach yourself from the situation, you gain perspective. You realize that their criticism says more about their own insecurities than it does about your work. When you stop taking it personally, you free yourself from the emotional weight of their words and can continue focusing on your own growth. The same applies to relationships. It's so easy to take things personally when your partner is distant or upset with you. You might think, what did I do wrong? Why are they treating me this way? But more often than not, their behavior has nothing to do with you. It's about their own emotions, their own struggles, or perhaps something they're going through. Instead of internalizing their behavior, recognize that their emotions are their own to deal with. By not taking it personally, you create space for understanding and compassion rather than resentment and self-doubt. And let's talk about social media for a moment. In this world of constant comparison, it's easy to take things personally when someone unfollows you, leaves a hurtful comment, or shares an opinion that contradicts yours. But remember, social media is not a reflection of your worth. It's a platform for people to share their own views, experiences, and frustrations. When someone lashes out online, it's a reflection of their own issues, not yours. Don't let their words affect your self-esteem or make you question your value. When you stop taking things personally, you become immune to the opinions of others. You no longer depend on external validation to feel good about yourself. Your worth is no longer tied to someone else's approval or disapproval. You start to build inner strength. You realize that you are enough just as you are. You begin to trust your own judgment, your own voice, and your own self-worth. Taking things personally only keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and frustration. But when you release that burden, you create space for self-empowerment, for growth, and for emotional freedom. You no longer let the actions or words of others control your emotional state. Instead, you take responsibility for how you feel, and you realize that the only opinion that truly matters is your own. This shift in mindset doesn't just change how you react to others, it changes how you see yourself. You become unstoppable because nothing and no one has the power to take your peace away from you. There's a voice inside each and every one of us, a quiet whisper that often gets drowned out by the noise of the world. But that voice, your instinct, is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's a voice that knows you better than anyone else, one that has seen all your experiences, both good and bad, and has understood them in ways that your mind may not even fully comprehend. Yet, so many times, we ignore it, we question it, we second guess it. But what if I told you that the one thing standing between you and the life you truly desire is simply trusting that inner voice? Think about the last time you had a gut feeling about something. Maybe it was a job opportunity that didn't feel right, or a relationship that wasn't serving you well, or even an idea that you were hesitant to pursue. Deep down you knew the truth, but you chose to ignore it. You let logic, the opinions of others, or fear take over. How did that turn out? Probably not as you hoped, right? And that's exactly why trusting your instincts is so important. Your intuition is like an internal GPS system. It's guiding you towards your true purpose, towards what's best for you. But when you ignore it, you're essentially choosing to disregard the very wisdom that could lead you to success and happiness. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in a toxic relationship. You know something isn't right. You feel uneasy, but you don't listen to your gut. You make excuses for their behavior, rationalize their actions, and keep hoping things will get better. But your instincts are already telling you the truth. This relationship isn't healthy for you. The longer you stay, the more damage you do to yourself. But if you had trusted that instinct from the beginning, you could have avoided all the pain and heartache. Your intuition is telling you what your mind may be too afraid to accept. But it's never wrong. If something feels off, it's off. Period. Now let's take a look at a more positive example. A time when you trusted your instincts and it paid off. Maybe you've experienced this in your career. Think about that moment when you took a leap of faith. When you left a safe job for something that felt right but wasn't certain. The people around you may have questioned your decision. They may have told you it wasn't practical or that it was too risky. But you trusted yourself. You followed that gut feeling, that deep-seated belief that this was the right path for you. And look where you are now. You didn't just survive, you thrived. Because the truth is, your instincts know what you truly want and need, even when you're too scared to acknowledge it. Trusting your instincts isn't about blind decision making. It's about tuning into that deep sense of knowing that lives inside you. Think of it as the accumulated wisdom of everything you've ever experienced. Your gut is formed by your knowledge, your feelings, and your past encounters. It's not random. It's informed by every lesson you've learned, every choice you've made, and every bit of growth you've achieved. Your instinct is a powerful guide, rooted in your own experience and the understanding you've developed over the years. But why is it so hard to trust it? We live in a world that values logic, facts, and external validation. We're taught to base our decisions on reason and concrete evidence, to listen to what others say and to weigh the pros and cons. While this is important in certain situations, it can also silence your inner voice. When you're constantly looking for validation from the outside, you forget that you already have everything you need within you. Your instincts are there to guide you, to tell you that you're ready, even when the world isn't sure. When you stop looking outward for approval and start trusting inwardly, you unlock a power you never knew you had. Think about the many times people have followed their instincts despite the odds. Look at successful entrepreneurs who took risks based on their intuition, who trusted that their idea would work, even when no one else believed in it. Think about athletes who make split-second decisions in the heat of the game, trusting their instincts over any plan or strategy. They don't have time to overthink. They rely on that gut feeling, that innate understanding that comes from experience and self-belief. But it's not just about the big decisions. Trusting your instincts also applies to the everyday moments, the small decisions that add up to big changes. Maybe it's choosing to go for a walk when you're feeling anxious, or taking a break when you're exhausted. It's listening to that inner voice telling you to take care of yourself, to step away from toxic situations, or to speak up when you've been quiet for too long. Every small act of trusting yourself builds your confidence and strengthens that intuitive muscle. The more you listen to your gut, the more you'll understand how it speaks to you, and the more you'll trust it in the future. The beauty of trusting your instincts is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to have a flawless track record. What matters is that you're listening. What matters is that you're trusting the part of you that already knows. It's not about being right every time. It's about being brave enough to follow what feels true, even when the path isn't clear. The more you trust yourself, the more you'll see the results. You'll start to notice how your life shifts, how the right opportunities begin to unfold, how the right people show up. Because when you trust your instincts, you align with your true purpose, and that's when the magic happens. Gratitude is a power that we often overlook, yet it is one of the most transformative practices you can cultivate in your life. It's not just about saying thank you or feeling thankful when things go well. Gratitude is a mindset, a way of living that shapes how we view the world, our challenges, and the people around us. It's a force that can turn even the darkest moments into opportunities for growth and transformation. When you practice gratitude, you unlock a power within you that changes everything. Let's take a moment to think about this. How many times have you found yourself overwhelmed by what's going wrong in your life? How often have you let challenges, setbacks, or failures define your outlook? It's easy to get caught in the trap of negativity, to focus on what's missing, what's lacking, or what's not working. But gratitude shifts your focus. It pulls your attention away from what's wrong and directs it toward what's right. It reminds you that even in the most difficult moments, there's always something to be thankful for. Imagine you've had a terrible day. Everything seems to be falling apart. You're frustrated, disappointed, and ready to give up. But then you pause, you take a deep breath, and you remind yourself to find something to be grateful for. Maybe it's the roof over your head, the fact that you woke up this morning, or the love of your family and friends. It's easy to overlook these blessings in the rush of life, but gratitude forces you to slow down and appreciate the things that often go unnoticed. Even when life is tough, there is always something to hold on to, something to appreciate. And when you focus on that, your entire perspective shifts. Think about the simple act of waking up every morning. It's easy to take it for granted, to think it's just another day, another chance to get things done. But what if you woke up each day with a deep sense of gratitude? What if you took a moment before you even got out of bed to thank the universe for giving you another day to live, another opportunity to grow? That act of gratitude would set the tone for the rest of your day. It would remind you that life is a gift, that every breath you take is a blessing. There's a story about a woman who was facing a series of hardships. She had lost her job, her relationship was falling apart, and she felt as though the universe was against her. But every day, despite her struggles, she made it a point to write down 3 things she was grateful for. Some days it was as simple as the warmth of the sun, the taste of her morning coffee, or the kindness of a stranger. Slowly, over time, she began to notice something remarkable. Her mood began to shift. Her outlook began to change. Her struggles didn't feel as heavy anymore. She found new opportunities, reconnected with her passions, and rebuilt her life. The act of gratitude had transformed her from a person consumed by her problems into someone who saw possibility, even in adversity. Gratitude isn't just about counting your blessings when things are going well. It's about finding those moments of light in the darkness. Take, for example, someone who is going through a challenging health issue. The pain, the fear, the uncertainty can be overwhelming. But by practicing gratitude, this person can shift their focus from what's wrong with their body to what's right. Perhaps they're thankful for the medical care they have access to, the support of their loved ones, or the strength they have within to face each day. Gratitude doesn't diminish the pain, but it brings balance, peace, and a sense of hope in the midst of it. You see, gratitude is a choice. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect, because it's not. Life has its ups and downs, and sometimes we're tested in ways we never expected. But when you choose gratitude, you choose to focus on what you can control. Your perspective. You choose to see the good in your life, even when it seems hidden behind clouds of difficulty. Gratitude gives you the power to change the way you experience the world. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, to always be looking ahead, thinking about what's next, what you still need to achieve, or what's still missing. But when you make gratitude a daily practice, you train yourself to appreciate the present moment. You learn to savor the little things, the warmth of a hug, the sound of laughter, the beauty of nature. These small moments are where life happens, and gratitude helps you recognize them for the gifts they truly are. Think about your own life right now. What are you grateful for? The answer may not always come easily, especially if you're going through tough times, but I challenge you to dig deeper. Even in your hardest moments, there is always something to be thankful for. Whether it's your health, your resilience, the love of those around you, or the simple fact that you've survived every hardship that life has thrown at you, gratitude has the power to help you shift your perspective and transform your reality. When you practice gratitude, you're not just changing your mindset, you're changing your entire life. As you stand at the edge of your life, looking out into the vast horizon, ask yourself, what kind of woman do you want to be? Do you want to be the woman who shrinks in the face of adversity, who lets the storms of life blow her down? Or do you want to be the woman who rises, who faces every challenge head on, with grace, strength, and unshakable confidence? Because the truth is, you have the power to choose. You have the power to shape your destiny with every thought, every choice, and every action you take. In life, no one is coming to save you. There is no knight in shining armor. The only one who can truly change your life is you. You are the hero of your own story. And today, right now, is the moment when you take charge of your life. When you trust your instincts, practice gratitude, and own your story, you step into your greatness. You become unstoppable. Remember, there will always be people who doubt you, who try to push you down, who will tell you that you're not enough. But here's the thing, their opinions do not define you. You define yourself. You are not the mistakes of your past, the failures you've experienced, or the voices of negativity around you. You are the strength that rises within you after every fall. You are the fire that burns even when everything around you is cold. You are more than enough. The world does not get to decide your worth, you do. Let me remind you of this. Nothing worth having comes easy. If it's easy, it's not the life you were meant to lead. Greatness is not about never falling. It's about how many times you rise. It's about the courage to keep moving forward when the world tells you to stop. It's about believing in yourself, even when no one else does. It's about holding your head high and stepping into the power that's been within you all along. As the legendary Steve Jobs once said, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And that's exactly who you are. The woman who dares to believe in her power. The woman who dares to change the world around her. In the face of hardship, be the one who says, I am stronger than this. When the challenges seem too heavy, tell yourself, I was built for this. When life tries to break you, remind yourself, I am unbreakable. You see, the world will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path. But in every obstacle lies an opportunity for growth, for strength, for evolution. The road to success is never a straight line. It's filled with bumps, turns, and setbacks. But each of those bumps is a lesson. Each of those turns is a step toward your true potential. As the great Maya Angelou once said, we may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. And remember, every moment is an opportunity. Every second is a chance to be better, to do better, to rise higher. Do not wait for permission to shine. Do not wait for the world to give you the green light. You already have everything you need to succeed within you. You have the power to make your dreams come true. You have the power to rise above your fears, to conquer your doubts, to break through your limits. All you need to do is step into it. Stop waiting for tomorrow. Stop waiting for the right time. The time is now. I know that there are days when you will feel weak, when you will question your path, when you will doubt your worth. But I want you to remember this. No one is born great. Greatness is earned. It's built. Piece by piece, choice by choice, action by action. And you, my dear, have everything it takes to be great. The greatness inside you is waiting to be unleashed, but it will only come when you decide to trust yourself. It will only come when you decide to step out of the shadows of doubt and into the light of your own power. So go out there, live your life with passion, live it with purpose, live it with the belief that you are unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniable. Don't just dream of success. Create it. Don't just wait for things to change. Make them change. You are the author of your own story, and your story is just beginning. So make it a story worth telling. As Oprah Winfrey said, the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. The world is waiting for you to step into your greatness. Don't make it wait any longer.